holds now that everything's on the line.
Yeah, we'll see if teams will continue to stick to their guns here or if they make the call to say, all right, we need to shift. And I've casted the players on Ghost Gaming for like 3 years now almost, and I've never seen anyone ever basically bully them out of Pachinki. And this might be the first time that that's ever happened. Oh my goodness. Like, where are they even going? What's even happening right now?
And it goes back to what you said. You know, you've been watching Ghost for the longest, and they always get dropped on. Not once have they pushed out. And I spoke to a couple members from Guns. They said the same thing. We're not leaving. So it's going to be a bloodbath here. Let's see who comes out on top.
Yeah, they're right on top of each other. I couldn't believe my eyes because, to your point, Dave, I didn't think they'd continue to do it. I thought one team would have to bow out going into this first match when it matters here in game number 1, but that's not going to be the case. A very friendly circle, so we're going to ignore it for now. It's going to give these teams lots of time to fight, as we're already seeing Revo doing in the kill feed, bringing the big guns to bear. We're taking a look. Ghost Gaming trying to get themselves together, trying to take an angle, take over one side of the city here to give them a better base of fire.
And just thinking, you know, Big Brain. What if Big Brain, Ghost, they were kind of throwing their Pachinki fights during those scrims? So like, yeah, let them think that they can take us out. And now, when it matters, they're going to pull out those strategies. So it's going to be interesting. I already saw a double barrel shotgun on one of the players from Guns. And looks like Guns playing a little grouped up together. Soft 3-1 split right now. And it's going to come down to who can get that first trade, that first knock, and catch their opponents off guard.
The key next step to that, of course, is seeing if you can confirm it, chain it into something else without giving up that down in return. We're seeing Godsend here taking a little bit of damage over towards crates. And going to be able to keep themselves alive, reset here a little bit. The Pachinki fight is definitely what we're keeping our eyes on as a whole. But like you mentioned before in the plane, Dave, lots of potential for hot drops, at least to start this off. I would be a little bit surprised if Ghost was throwing it, because like scrims are only useful if you go the whole way, you know what I mean, or more useful. So just dying early every single time is maybe less useful. But no, I'm definitely curious to see how that ends up playing out here, because we never know when push comes to shove on the day of. It's anybody's game.
I definitely agree with your point, but then again,
but I want to see secret. I hear you. I want secret strats.
Scrims here. We're talking practice ball, all right? So we'll see. As you know, it's just going to be one of those main storylines that we follow every single aerial map. Both those squads talking to the players. They're not moving. No matter if they get wiped out first or if they come out on top, they're going to continue to drop there. So at least we have something to look forward to every single game, some potential action. But I'm actually surprised, because just looking at the minimap, looks like Ghost already finding some vehicles and repositioning, maybe pushing out.
I wouldn't honestly be surprised. And I laugh at, after all this, the net result is they just split it and they don't end up taking that crazy fight. Like, that would be, I think, the one result none of us really expected. But to your point, Dave, this isn't practice. You don't want to give up a dumb death early. The chances of you making it to the end, securing the chicken dinner, increase exponentially if you're able to keep all 4 players alive. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on where these teams are rotating here. As I said before, a very friendly circle. Teams are already on the main island. Nobody's still dilly-dallying down there on military. So we're not going to have to worry about any risky crossings in the late game. This has been honestly one of the most relaxed loot phases we've seen in a while, because looking towards the end of the last PMPL here in the Americas, it was getting spicy in some of these games.
Key word, though, end. Towards the end. Early on in tournaments, a lot of teams, they play it really cautious, really slow, like to put out those feelers and see exactly where their opponents might end up going when it comes to rotates, when it comes to drop spots. Because we're going to talk about, like, one more time, scrims, yeah. Teams, they might pull out some strategies that they're not going to implement here. And talk about some strategies. Ghost, 4 piled up in that US. Oh, they need to be extra careful.
Yeah, don't want a clown car situation to happen there, where everybody gets in and nobody gets out. As we're seeing them position them up on top of this hill here, and they're in an okay spot. This isn't a bad position to be, especially looking at this next circle. But the issue here is that, like we just saw, they're going to be very exposed with this next rotation. So they're going to have to do a very good job of scouting, of gathering intel, because UDR Killers here down towards Apps is in a great position to gatekeep them should this circle continue to go further north.
A solid spot right now. They have some pretty good sight lines, and RTG already repositioned out just a little bit to Rozhawk. And this spot, circle 1, pretty center. So UEDR, they don't necessarily have to move anytime soon. They could pretty much, make sure to loot every single room, get that list out, that grocery shopping list, and check it all off. Get those scopes, those attachments, all those meds. Because honestly, I was watching earlier on, and I think with the short form tournament, 20 games, one of the key, I guess, plays in the squad's book that they're going to really have to keep an eye on is resource management. How they use their smokes, their nades, and their meds. Because I was watching earlier on, East, it was late game. Late game, no more smokes, no more grenades. Like, they just used them all towards the early and mid game. So I'm really going to be looking at teams and how they use their resources here.
Because resource management is so critical, making sure that you have some of those key smokes to build these good defensive barriers with your vehicles in those circles 6, 7 are really the big ones that come to my mind. Using a lot of the util early, while it can secure you some of those early kill points, the diminishing returns start to come in, because once you get, especially into that top 3, 10 plus points for the win, that is going to be garnering you a lot more long-term success than the odd point here or there in the early game. So we'll keep an eye on that for sure. We'll see how the teams are opting to play it here in the West. That's something we've been traditionally pretty good at, I would say, though often learning from the East, as is the case quite a bit here with PUBG Mobile. We'll keep an eye on that for sure, as it's been a very quiet early game so far, Dave. And I think your prediction of the early day number 1 first game jitters, we'll say, definitely still into effect here. Teams aren't nervous, but they're cautious.
And just kind of back to that point, for sure, tomorrow East is going to be a lot more tight. I think today, both East and West, it's just game 1, game 2, it's the first day. So a lot of unpredictable plays will be coming out from your opponents who, let's be honest, they're not used to playing against here. So I think that's one of the main reasons we saw a lot of that utility used early on. And Jason asked the desk this. I want to get it in real quick before this starts to get spicy. Predictions. Instagram, They had their predictions. Who do you see coming out top? It's a little unfair because we see the map right now, of course. But if you had to pick one team, first chicken dinner out here for the West, who would you say?
Well, I mean, I have to be biased because as like the token Canadian, we have a Canadian team. So I kind of have to go for 19 Esports. It's not based on any logic or reasoning. It's just based on the fact that I don't normally get to root for Canada. So I'm going to do that here. Let's go.
Okay, respect. Okay, we got one for Canada. I'm going to go with Canada. I was looking at the map. My bad. I'm going to go with guns, though. I'm agreeing with Frost. I'm a big believer in guns from Iraq. I think they're going to come in here and dominate. They're a good team when it comes to getting those kills, and they're consistent with getting high placement points. I think that's going to play a huge factor in these 20 games.
And they've got some seriously experienced players at this point. I mean, I remember the first time watching these guys competing on some of these more world stage environments, being really impressed with the individual fragging power. For me, if I can see this guns iteration playing more together as a squad, if we can see that team synergy ramping up, then I absolutely agree. They are going to be a force to be reckoned with in this tournament, as we did end up seeing Team Queso, I believe, getting the first pick up there on the Chivas Esports. So keeping an eye on this. UDR Killers still just continuing to chill out, Our team from Spain, maybe cooking up a paella or something, just relaxing. As a team who's not relaxing right now, it's Rod going to be going in here. Clash going to find the shots. Trazen doing a great job there, finding the off angle. More vehicles continue to stream in, as you can see it in the kill feed. Nice job there from Clash. What is Rod doing? They just went right into the meat grinder.
Yeah, our squad from Egypt just straight up YOLO sending it right now, and they got picked apart one after another. They did not even have the opportunity to fire back because I saw a couple members, they got sprayed on in that vehicle and they weren't able to pop out in time. So that's going to be some nice early game loot delivery right now. Hey, we're going to call it what it is, loot delivery out here. So not too bad for our squad from France.
I mean, you're not wrong. You spent all that time, first, 10 minutes of the game, casually looting up, getting nice and stocked, tier 3'd out the wazoo, and now you just give it over to your opponents who killed you for free, essentially there. Bit of an awkward rotation there. The second the first player went down, I think they probably should have reassessed to break off, cut their losses, but instead they just, I'm going to be honest, streamed in like lemmings, one after the other, right off the cliff, and it was not a great look in that game number one. Got to look to shake that one off, though, as Clash all the way up there from the top. Bon voyage, they say. We'll see you in the next one.
For sure. Shake it off. Don't let it affect you at all. 19 more games to go. That's that one game. That's that one game that no one's going to talk about. All right? Just forget about it. It didn't happen. That's perfectly fine. So we'll see what they can do, what they can accomplish in that next game, because it's going to be Sandhawk. It's going to be a little spicy. And just kind of getting the bigger picture right now. Alpha 7 all the way up there on Stalber Hill, playing the edge, playing this one nice and slow. To me, it looks like they're going to be waiting to see where this next circle takes us. And 7 on Deaths was kind of hyping up Team K. So interesting squad. We've seen them. They've either been hot or cold, in my opinion. That hot, melted cheese or just a block of cheese. We'll see what they can do here in this tournament.
We'll see if there'll be some smoked cheese here, or if they'll be the ones doing the smoking, taking away their opponents here. Axel looking to hit some shots, not quite able to do it. The thing that always stands out to me about Team Queso is that they're a ramp team. They're a team that always starts off slow, but as days and weeks goes on in some of these extended tournaments, they just continue to get hotter and hotter, generally. They're not going to have time to do that here. We only have 4 days. Let's see what we can do as Extra Gaming taking a look over, starting things off with the nades. 1 kill already picked up. We'll see what Hamudi can do. Got to reposition. Got to try and stick with the team here and find an angle to fight back.
Yeah, Frozen right there. The 3 times MVP. 3 weeks in a row. Trying to put some damage out here. Trying to get some of these grenades. Ooh, in those smokes. Hamudi better run.
Good intuition.
With their squad mates. Yeah, and you know what? Just in time as well, because the next zone does go up. Oh, but spotted in the process after all. So that's Guns losing 2. That's my squad that I picked. Oh, that's losing all 4. Oh, no. The Maxman curse, more like the Dave curse out here. Hey, we'll bring it back, boys. Don't worry about it. We'll bring it back, all right? Next game.
And they were getting shot at by multiple teams. That rotation was doomed. That one was not going to succeed no matter what happened there. They just got caught out. Bad position. Teams are punishing the circle, continuing to center up here just southeast of Razak, just around school. There's a lot of terrain to work with here, a lot of compounds, so it's going to be all about the fight to take over those compounds. I'm getting the Kendi vibes from this, Dave, and I like it.
A huge fight right here. Huge fight. Alpha 7, they're going to be strolling in, playing that edge from Stalber after that new shift, and they're going to be running into the roadblock. We saw Team Queso. They're setting up here on the roofs just a little earlier on. Blue Zone's going to apply some more pressure. Hitsu with the Scar, trying to get some shots, pop those tires. But Alpha 7, they're like, nah, we're not going to take this fight. Too risky this early on. They're going to look for that wide rotate, find a safer passageway.
And of course, Alpha 7 from Brazil, always looking to get aggressive. One of the hallmarks of these Brazilian teams, they like to take fights as 4. They like to go in, be the aggressors, set the pace. And that one, definitely identifying, this is not the fight we want to take. Let's reposition. Let's get something a little bit more advantageous. Potentially running into Onyx here, who've done this ridiculous wide wrap all the way around the circle as well. Keep an eye on that as Nextria Gaming's been able to take over these nice series of compounds, and these are some of the ones that I'm talking about here. If you can take control of these, if you can get control of these, you've got such a great vantage point to get intel on all the other teams rotating in. And speaking of rotations, this is what I was talking about, Dave. This might be some combat on the road.
Yeah, talk about a messy spaghetti bowl over here. Alpha 7, they left the squad of Team Queso to run into Onyx. Here comes the fight.
There's someone I'm running into in a dark alley or on the side of a hill. It's definitely not going to be Carrillo. That's not who I want to face up against. He does not lose those close 1v1 fights. And now with the full flank coming on the other side, Alpha 7's in a great position to just wipe Onyx from the face of the map, one after another. Like dominoes, they fall as Alpha 7, a terror out here, looking to go for the revive. Master will be able to secure it, but it's a 2v4. They're in a rough spot, and here comes the parade. It's Alpha 7 going in for the throat. That's going to be the team wipe.
Ooh, right there. They're trying to close in on the shack. The pre-fire swapping to the DP. They're done. They're done. We're playing on patch 1.5, by the way. The new light machine gun. That thing is a shredder. It's a shredder. I think it has a faster fire rate than a Vector, and it packs a lot bigger of a punch. And right there, just watching Alpha 7 and talking about patch 1.5 real quick, we're seeing those AKMs. They're ahead of the curve. I was watching earlier at East. I'm going to talk about a little bit more. Everybody was running M4 still. With this new patch, everybody's on the same level playing field, but we'll get back to that because Canada versus USA.
Oh boy, a traditional rivalry here, and so far at least, G-Fan's going to help to put this one in Canada's favor. Bayo still in the corner, but multiple members from 19 are in rough position. Tets is going to drop though, but Bayo takes the positive trades. Xenox got to go in and try and make this one happen. The absolute shredder, the absolute killer that we know of Xenox is going in, looking to take Bayo down, and he will. 19 Esports able to take Ghost Gaming down in their first big fight, but the third party is coming in. This one's not done yet. It all comes down to Sam, the last one standing.
Yeah, they're getting shot from these windows. I believe one member from Team Queso all the way on the outskirts took a shot in there. Sam trying to get these pickups on their squad mate. It's only going to be a duo, but right there, Canada taking out USA.
Getting some revenge for the last World Juniors as it is. Taking a look also towards Konita Power, who have a great spot in this next circle and have eyes on their next potential rotation. Apps is still in play as well. Godsent looking up against UDR Killers, who've been in a great position this whole game, Dave. They played it slow, they played it steady. They've got all 4 players alive. And they're looking to try and take some shots. Both of these teams trying to find some leverage because they will not be in this next circle for long.
Yeah, right now, just count your lucky stars that you have this cover for the time being. 11 teams to go. They can do their best to try to gain some intel from their prone positions through these windows and kind of make up that game plan for what's next. And I want to say real quick, back to Alpha 7, how they're ahead of the curve. Patch 1.5, rate of fire compensation system. That's going to make UMPs a lot stronger up close and personal, and AKMs for that mid-range engagements, and that's what we're seeing from them.
Yeah, I mean, that next level thinking is what is going to get you ahead when the field is this competitive and this close. We did just see Team Queso getting taken out as well, and that is so important for teams to make sure they're on the bleeding edge of what weapon you should be using. We've seen constant shifts in the meta with Uzis and DPs. M4s have always been a staple. That recoil control is the big thing, and maybe that's what I'm wondering. The AK is slightly different in terms of that control, and yes, things are going to be changing with the stabilization like you mentioned before, but maybe players are still not feeling quite as comfortable using that yet, which is why we're still seeing M4s being as prevalent. Keep an eye on that for sure, though, because Alpha 7, they're in a great position, Dave. They took down Onyx for that northernmost position. They sent Carrillo out in front in order to be their scout, 3-1, and now they're looking in a great spot here. But Konita Power on the high ground. Another squad who's looking to be in pretty good shape.
Hey, Alpha 7, they're playing patch 1.5. That's all I'm going to say about that. So, hey, we'll get back to that as we see. Oh, Santa Texa in the kill feed. Actually getting a nice little knock right there onto one of the members of Konita Power. Things start to settle down just a little bit. Everybody able to catch their breath, heal up, make sure to get their HP bars topped out. Looking to see where this next circle goes. UDR, Godsent, you called it. They're going to have to move, and yep, this zone does not favor them no more, so we might have a little skirmish out here.
Yeah, this is the one I'm looking at, as well as that Alpha 7 Konita Power fight. These are the big two that I'm keeping my eyes on. But there are other squads watching Godsent as well. They're basically pinched. When they decide to make this move here, they're going to have to be careful because they could be taking some shots over across the way as well. Definitely got to keep an eye on that, as that's the Alpha 7 fight I was talking about starting to pop up in the kill feed. Is Nomi, that MVP, getting dropped by a big frag. I'd like to take a look at that fight as well if we can, as we're seeing multiple fights breaking out here as Alpha 7's looking to push the high ground. Thank you, observers. Right on time. Dave, here we go.
Yeah, huge knock taking out Nomi, one of the stronger players on the squad right there, and immediately sending it. But Alpha 7, they got 2 down. They do have that smoke deployed. Santa Texa trying to crawl into there, trying to get that pickup, and both squads, they have a moment to get the reset.
Konita Power's going to find the first, but Gonzo is down. More nades coming in, and Alpha 7, this could be a rough spot for them. Nice damage going through. Smoke's trying to give them some cover, but behind that rock, it's pretty obvious where they're going to be posting up, and this is the opportunity that Konita Power needs. Uzi in hand. You can see the bottom right of your screen trying to find the angle to leverage, but they're still afraid because Carrillo is still a threat. You cannot ignore this. As Axer is trying to get the revive on the other side, Senetexa is down as well. It is a 2v3 with Konina Power in an advantageous position. Mafioso will need to go clutch to try and salvage this one for his team.
Yeah, Alpha 7, they do have this boulder to work with, but they're in a slight dip right here. So a couple grenades could roll right into that dip, and that could spell disaster.
Could indeed. Mafioso, though, needs to turn, needs to try and listen for them. Take the other footsteps coming in, multiple angles, finds the shot, nicely done. Konina Power now, it's down to a 2v2. Can they get this done? Both teams battered, bloody, bruised, trying to survive, trying to stabilize as best they can, but no! Mafioso finds another one at the angle, because he's gonna find the third. Absolutely insane, he lives with a scrap of HP. It all comes down to this last one. Here's Canario, full HP, running up over the top of the hill to try and secure this last fight here. Alpha 7, can they get it done? No!
Mafioso's still up, 1 HP. 1 HP, and to make matters worse, RTG, they're gonna start the third part of this from behind. Oh, look who's showing up right here. RTG on that cleanup duty right here.
And just like that, mutually assured destruction. What an epic fight from both of these teams. And they both end up going out. Talking about loot delivery, Dave, it doesn't get much better than that. And just like that, we're down to only 6 teams left, as Nexria Gaming is also getting eliminated. Somehow Godsend's been able to survive into this as well. Enui is still... Oh, never mind.
Nope.
Nope.
They did until they didn't. So...
He was sick.
Yeah, it was nice. It was right there. You really had to have that aim on point right there. So RTG strolling up their third party. Look at all these crates. They're able to top off on ammo, meds, utility. They even got a couple Teslas in their pocket that they're gonna need here to rotate into this next zone and kind of build their own cover. But first, they need to scout it out. We see Loca Nostra down there, a little split. They're gonna be trying to gatekeep them.
RTG, I mean, they're on the road to glory, as they say. They've only got 1 single kill going into this. They have been able to play this really passively somehow. But they're in a good potential position here. They do have to rotate into this next circle, and they are exposed up on the high ground. They're going to need to leverage the smokes. Let's see how the utility management that you talked about earlier, Dave, is going to come into play here if they are going to have the util to be able to broach this next circle. They have the vehicles. We'll keep an eye on it as 19 Esports is in a precarious position. Sam is down. Xenox is trying to live. Xenox, the 1v4 fiend that we know from PMWI Americas. We'll keep an eye on how long they can survive, making it to the top 5, at least as Chivas Esports, despite the fact that they lost the first player in the server. Dave, they made it here to the top 5.
They're still up and at it. And RTG making the pull-up right now onto Loca Nostra. Savage taken out. I'm really curious, what can Daddy do? Daddy had that off angle. Daddy's job was to make sure to take out any crash, pop those tires, blow up that vehicle. But Daddy not able to do that.
No, not at all. And we check back in with RTG. They went from 1 kill to 5 in a matter of seconds. Or 3, I should say, in a matter of seconds, able to pick this one up. Nicely done from them. 19 Esports trying to stabilize, but the nades keep raining in. I cannot believe they are still up and in this. UDR Killers, though, with 7 kills as well. But right now, Dave, it's all about RTG. Being able to keep all 4 players up and alive, massive.
Yeah, having all 4 members up late game, such a huge advantage. Daddy trying to get revenge right here, tossing out some grenades. Not able to get any damage on the board. Definitely giving away their position. Blue zone going to start to close here very shortly. Apply some additional pressure.
Oak's going out, I believe. No, it was a nade. Not able to connect onto Marshall there. Going to try and heal Strat through. Does have 3 first aids. Just wants to get into that top 4 if they can. 19 Esports has been just a punching bag as these nades have literally not stopped. They are just sitting in a 1-man red zone. Uh-oh, that one's going to do it though. How? They just keep getting... How many nades do you have, Nano? This is unfair. This is bullying.
See the bounce. Got him. Got the confirm, and Sam in the smokes. Jacob taking them down and out. Still, Canada, 4th place.
Top 4.
Solid.
Not too bad as all of this is happening. Loca Nostra is going down. Daddy was dropped. UDR Killers is in this, though. Chivas is up as well. It's a 2v2v4, so depending on how RTG decides to rotate this, they need to be careful. They need to take one of these fights, Dave. If they try and split themselves too thin, if they try and spread themselves too far, that's where they could get punished. That's what we have to keep an eye on.
And instead of just sending it into the zone, looks like they're going to try to wrap around, get some damage on the board with these grenades, maybe get a knock. They do see those smokes over there, so that is an indicator you might have some enemies on the other side of this hill. Oh, hit them in the head right there. That must have hurt. You saw that?
Yeah, I did. Chill out, guys. Chill out. All right, take it easy. But this is what we're talking about, Dave. These are the smokes. These are the smokes that I was looking for here in Circle 7. This is exactly the kind of util management we need. These teams have done a good job fighting, been able to take this from their opponents. You can continue to see the nades just raining in. But I like what RTG is doing here. They're moving up with the vehicles. They're going to create this mobile cover. We'll see if they opt to destroy the vehicles now rather than have them take that potential damage, or if they want to keep them alive. They've got a lot of different options here, but I love how they're doing this. This is so methodical.
You can't see nothing. Smokes are deployed everywhere. RTG, they have the numbers advantage, but they need to make sure not to overextend right now. Let UDR, let them do the heavy lifting for you there on the edge.
They have to move in, and they had to take the road. They've got the way this defilade works. They are going to have the advantage here if they continue to snake. But Jakub, oh my goodness,
yeah, right there,
so close. We'll see if he realizes just how close they AK in hand. So that 1.5, Dave, you're calling it. Looking at what these teams are doing, breaking things wide open. But I love the position from Fran back here. Has the hard cover, has the tree, and is going to be able to offer so much support to their teammate. This is solid. However, may not be enough.
Yeah, Fran's still trying to look behind them, make sure that they can't get surprised from the back. Honestly, though, I mean, that's El Chapo right in front of your face right there. Fran trying to crawl up, trying to get those grenades. It could be big. RTG, they're kind of grouped right here.
They are indeed. One big nade could spell disasters. They're taking fights on multiple fronts. Sandro's trying to find one as well as GDR Killers looking to at least make the top two. As they're just sending it, though, Dave. This is hyper-aggressive, but they make it work. And just like that, UDR Killers is down. And somehow, despite losing the first player in the server, Chivas Esports is here into the top two. Takes one down with them. It's a 2v1. Hang on with the smoke. They're not out of this yet. There could be potential for Frey to try and make the absolute hero play. But El Chapo looking to shut that one right down. Keeping the pressure up. Spraying, praying, throwing the pan for good measure. Send it. Let's go.
Fran, MK14 though, that thing hurts. Fran does have another smoke. They're going to use it. They can make a play. It does look like Carry Boy is going to be holding that off angle. Looks like the pickups might be coming out. That is not what you want, Fran. You want to take advantage. The 2v1, now the 2v3, or 1v3.
Taking a lot of damage. Hit markers. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? The nade gets it done though, but Fran almost goes clutched right there at the end. Still a top two finish as we're seeing RTG taking that first chicken dinner here. Road to Glory started things off slow, only had one kill going into I think circle 6, but they turned it up, took smart fights to